Hello YouTube, this is an honest review of Devil May Cry 5. Now first thing is first, I want to say that this game wildly exceeded my expectations, and I have been a lifelong Devil May Cry fan. I've been playing since I was 7 years old. I've been playing since Devil May Cry 3, and this game I wasn't sure if it was going to be a great game. Of course it's directed by Itsuno, who is the master of Devil May Cry. But there were a lot of stylistic changes. I think everyone was a little bit on the fence because they changed a lot of things. But having said that, from E3, it was actually on my birthday when this game was announced. I didn't think it was real. I had to go and watch the trailer, and I wasn't too excited for it. I thought 11 years, that's a long time for them to come out with a sequel. It better be great. And I must say that it is an awesome game. This is an amazing game. By no way, shape, or form is it a letdown. I give it a 9 out of 10, which is what I gave to Devil May Cry 4. Devil May Cry 3 is an 11 out of 10 because that's simply one of the best, well, the best, perhaps, of all games. But this game, while not perfect, exceeds in a lot of departments. First of all, the combat is superb, spectacular, and above all, stylish. I believe this is perhaps the best combat ever done in a video game. It is, at the very least, as good as anything that's ever been done in a Devil May Cry game. And so, by extension, some of the best combat of all time. There is so much you can do. The combat is so much more in depth than even Devil May Cry 4's combat. Dante gets some new moves. Nero feels, at least as a playable character, he feels so much more complete. There were a lot of things I felt his combat was very much limited in Devil May Cry 4. But you never feel that way in this game. It's just absurd, over the top, and very fun. It's very, very fun. And most people value the combat and the gameplay above all else. And Devil May Cry has always, and I believe will always, have exceptional combat. It's a hack and slash game, as they say, but the combat is extreme, and I have not, at this moment in time, played the hardest difficulty, but this game seems to be returning to the challenging but very fair style of play, and the trophies aren't going to be too easy. They're going to be more skill-based than anything, but a little bit of a grind for those people that care about that sort of thing. But combat is, it's an 8 plus. Combat is 10 out of 10, maybe then some. But combat isn't everything. What about the game's story? What about some of the other aspects? Well, the story is good. It's not as good as Devil May Cry 3's story, which was very involving, it was very intricate and intimate, and there is a lot of that here. There's some intimacy in the storyline. The main characters return, the main heroes and villains return, and most people can guess who those are. But I do feel that some of the series regulars, Lady and Trish in particular, there's no one else really to talk about. They were kind of playing, they're in the back seat of this game to V, the new character. And V's okay. He's only in a few missions, and some of the missions that you can play as V are entirely optional. I think that's a great choice. You have different ways of going through the missions. And it's not quite like Devil May Cry 4 with the recycled missions. There are new enemies and different scenarios depending on who you play in those missions, but I feel that a lot of the character development was lost in some ways, with particularly Nero, even ladies at some extent. And, you know, Trish has never been too important for the storyline. There's at least one moment that is really a throwback to Devil May Cry 3 as far as Lady goes, and that's a good moment, but I don't like that they replaced the voice actor. They changed a lot of people. Dante's still back, Nero's still back, and well, you can guess who else is back. But well, I will say this: the facial rendering. Of course, they're working on the RE engine. The facial rendering on this game is perhaps as well some of the best ever done. The RE engine, they brought facial design, character designs, character models to the most lifelike that they've ever been. And there's one character in particular that I think he looks incredible. He looks incredible, whether you like him or not. He looks great. And, well, all the characters really look great. Once you get warmed up to the idea, you know, some characters look different than the older games, and that was definitely something that I was bragging about. But I think all in all that this game is fabulous. Do I think it's better than Devil May Cry 3? No, it's not the best Devil May Cry game I've played, but it's definitely up there. It is without question. It's up there. It's definitely, you know, on the pantheon of Devil May Cry games. If I can criticize anything about the story, well, I think a lot of people can criticize how there's a lot of leaps, you know, forward and backwards in time. It's not exactly a linear narrative, and I think there's some good ideas involved there, but I think it would have been a lot more intimate than just, you know, continue on one path. And there are some moments where I feel like they could have done more with the level design. I think they could have done more, even in some ways, with the enemy design. You know, Devil May Cry 3 still has the full package, but if you stop comparing it to previous games and take it for what it is fantastic. Definitely one of the Game of the Year contenders. Capcom usually doesn't get those, maybe that's because they're Japanese, I don't know, their games go a little bit underrated, but I think a lot of people are going to look at this at face value, and no one can deny this is a hell of a lot of fun to play, and if that's the #1 criteria for video games, then that's the criteria. You know, there's more things I can criticize. I think this is just a great entry. It's important for people to recognize this series and perhaps go back and play the older entries. You definitely want to play them in order to know what's going on. The biggest thing I can say is that the ending, without spoiling anything, the ending is a little bit unsure. I don't know if it's quite a cliffhanger. Devil May Cry 4 sort of ended in a way that it was like, you know, if we do ever make another Devil May Cry game, we certainly have a story to tell. Devil May Cry 3 ended in pretty much the perfect way. Almost everything with that game was perfect. I think they could have done more with the ending. It takes a long time for the story to really get anywhere, and I think a lot of it has to do with the expectation that the spoilers would be, well, I think they wanted the secrets to be kept secret, but I think a lot of the promotional material and some of the spoilers, perhaps, you know, I think it was pretty easy for longtime fans of the series to understand what was going on. Newcomers may have some moments pleasantly surprised. And then there actually are some really unique moments that you wouldn't exactly, even if you could predict it, the way that they unfold, it's satisfying. But I wanted more, and I was left wanting more. And in all honesty, there's nothing wrong with that. That just means that the game delivered on a very high level, with very high expectations, and you know, if I didn't like the game, I wouldn't be asking for more, would I? So it ranks up there with Devil May Cry 3 and 4, and I'm ultimately just glad that they made it. I'm glad that I bought it, and has it been worth 11 years to wait? I think so. I think so. I predicted a lot of the elements of the story. You know, the one last hurrah to fight, you know, an extreme foe, some kind of a demon king, or something of that nature. I predicted that pretty much as far back as Devil May Cry 4, I would say. But the main thing is the gameplay itself, and there's a lot to offer, especially for longtime fans. There's a lot to enjoy. It's a blast. It's crazy. It's stylish. Definitely pick up this game and go after everything it has to offer, because it has very much to offer.